Welcome back, mother lovers, to another episode of Last Call at McLaren's, the How I Met Your Mother podcast. I am Josh here with my best bud, John. How's it going, man? You excited to talk?
I mean, I'm always excited to talk. I'm even more excited when I get to talk about How I Met Your Mother, and I am the most excited when I get to talk about wrestling. But since this is second in command, then here we go.
Can't wait till we get to a little robots versus wrestlers. Then it gets to combine.
Oh my God! I have so many things I want to talk about on that episode.
But that's not where we are today, folks. Today, we are on Season 1, Episode 18, Nothing Good Happens After 2 a.m.
That is a motto that I have adopted from this show.
I mean, there's been some interesting things that have happened after 2 a.m., but for the most part...
one good thing that's ever happened to us after 2 a.m.
We did meet a drunk Marine once.
We also sold him a cat that wasn't ours.
That's very true. I mean, I don't think he ever gave us any money. I think we just gave him a cat.
Okay, so we gave him a cat. I mean...
Hey, you know...
Josh gave him $1.
Hey, I thought he'd go away. I don't know. You know how it goes. But, yeah, so this episode is the continuation of the previous one that we did. Yes. It's not the first time we've had essentially a 2-part episode, because that happened with was the wedding and drum roll please. But they're doing it again here, but this one is a lot more in the serious tone. Yeah. It really hits that dramatic beats and ends real somber. But we'll get into all of that as we talk. This episode aired April 10th of 2006, so they took a 3-week break here between the previous episode and this one. Like making us just sweat it out to find out what the hell Ted was going to do.
Well, I mean, it makes sense, too. We're almost at the end of the season.
Yeah. Yeah, it's getting close, and they really want to milk people's emotions at this point. They want to make you want it. So this episode directed again, obviously, by Pamela Fryman, and written again by Craig Thomas and Carter Bays. They did the previous episode, which makes sense. They're continuing this specific story as they go through. And the summary for this episode: convinced Victoria is about to dump him, Ted accepts an invitation to a late-night rendezvous with Robin, who has a rough day at work. Meanwhile, Lily, Barney, and Marshall party with Korean Elvis. That's right.
I feel like, though, that is a cop-out in the synopsis for this episode.
Hey, man, you can talk to the How I Met Your Mother fandom wiki about that.
I'm going to. Robin has had worse days at work than this.
That's true, man. I mean, she did land
horse shit.
Let's say she did land face first in some horse shit. So, and she didn't go off and try to fuck Ted at that point. I'm just saying.
But she did get some shiny nipples.
Shiny nickels. Shiny nickels. So we actually start this episode with a previously on, something that we have never seen before and something that we never see again. It's the one and only time that this is ever used throughout the show, which I thought was interesting. Not 100% sure why it was never used again, but because I kind of liked it. Because I kind of like it, You have this 2-parter, and it's almost, honestly, you almost kind of feel like something like the wedding, drum roll please, could have used that. You know what I mean? Because I'm pretty sure they took like a 2-3 week break between those episodes as well.
I think so.
And so, a previously on, I think would have helped with that. And I thought it was nice here because it didn't just tell you what happened in that previous episode. It kind of detailed what was going on leading up to it with Ted and Victoria, and all that stuff. Yeah. So which I really liked. So future Ted tells his kids about the stupidest thing that he's ever done. He shares a piece of advice from his mother: nothing good ever happens after 2 a.m.
Yep.
And this is where it all just kind of blossoms from. We pick up right with that final scene from the previous episode with Robin calling Ted, asking him to come over. We then backtrack 20 hours we get this upbeat kind of montage of Robin. She's waking up for the day. It's bright, it's vibrant. She's happy. She's kind of getting ready, brushing her teeth. All her dogs are there, her 5 dogs hanging around the apartment. So things are good for her right here at the beginning, 20 hours ago. We then flash over to Lily's classroom, and it is career day. And this is what Robin was getting ready for. She was heading out to be part of this career day for Lily's class. Talking about being a reporter. And as she's finishing up talking about being a reporter, we see that Barney's also there.
Not the purple one.
Yeah, I love that because like John said here, if you look on the chalkboard, it tells you everyone who's there. It says career day with, it says a doctor, a fireman, a reporter, and then it says Barney. And in parentheses, not the purple one, which I thought was hilarious. Kids, I don't know if Barney the dinosaur is still a thing. I'll be totally honest. It is. But if you don't know, this was a children's program with a large purple dinosaur. There it is.
2 smaller dinosaur friends named Bebop and
not Rocksteady.
It was Bebop and
and something else.
BJ
and
Baby Bop, not Bebop.
Yeah, Baby Bop and BJ. That sounds about right.
I'm like Bebop. I'm like, that's not right.
And then you get kids running around, be like, I love BJ. And then they may have been like, ooh, that was a bad idea. But that's something for a different podcast. I'm just saying. Me and John, we're going to start our new show, the Barney the Dinosaur podcast. It ain't easy being purple. That's the name of the show.
Fair enough.
There it is. So after Robin is done kind of giving her little spiel, a little girl raises her hand. She has a question. She asks her, does she have a fiance? Because apparently Marshall was there the previous day.
Yeah, they learned the word fiance.
Yeah, they learned the word fiance. Robin says no, but that she has 5 dogs, because, that's, a substitution. Sure. Then the girl asks if she gets lonely, and Robin's like, no, I have 5 dogs.
Which I thought was a great comeback to that.
Yeah.
He's like, I got 5 dogs. And the little girl's like, well, don't you get lonely? I have 5 dogs.
I have 5 dogs. Like, what the fuck you asking me this question?
Little girl, you ever had 1 dog? Do you know what taking care of 1 dog's like? Multiply that by 5, bitch.
It's true. It's true. Apparently, I was listening to the audio commentary. The little Chihuahua apparently got replaced from the original Chihuahua that was in the pilot episode because that first Chihuahua was apparently like real, like, I don't want to say aggressive, but like hard to control, I guess.
Aww.
Yeah. So they had to apparently replace it with a different Chihuahua. So and there's a scene later on where I think it's later on where where she's sitting on the couch and all the dogs are kind of like around her, and then Chihuahua climbs like onto her shoulder and down. Apparently that scene, like that shot, took like 17 takes to get the dog to do exactly like, just right, just what they wanted it to do, which I thought was really kind of funny. So then Robin gets a bit testy with this girl after she compares her to her cat lady grandma, which was funny. And it's obvious to me that it's less about the idea of being like that type of person, and it's more about the cats, because Robin is so anti-cat.
She is anti-cat.
And I mean, we get that a couple episodes ago with her and Victoria and talking about the whole cat thing, whatever. We kind of see that kind of almost hatred of cats and cat people. So I think that's more so what set her off was the idea of being a cat lady as opposed to anything else, to be honest with you. Then we get a little boy who asks a question. He asks Robin if she's a lesbian. And then Robin just goes off. Are you a lesbian?
I mean,
like, Robin, this kid, they're kindergartners, Robin. What are you doing? They're like 5. Come on.
Trying like the president to teach a couple kids,
Shut it down. Just shut it down, kids. Shut it down.
Are you saying we should delete this conversation?
Yes, I think so. So then she goes and she sits down, and Barney starts kind of like mocking her. Before
it's an easy situation to mock.
Dude, it is. If he didn't, I'd be like, dude, what's wrong with Barney? Like, perfect opportunity. And then it's his turn to talk. So Lily, he gets up and Lily's like, what? I don't even know what you do, which I'm pretty has come up before.
Yes.
In a previous episode. And he gives his patented please answer, which I love. And then instead of kind of going into what he does for a career, he starts doing magic for the kids, which I thought was great. And on the commentary, the DVD commentary, they were talking about this. Apparently, it was Neil Patrick Harris who brought magic to Barney. Like, it wasn't part of the scripts or something. Like, it wasn't something that they were like, we want this character to also be a magician. This was something that Neil Patrick Harris brought to the character.
And it's kind of funny though, because if you really think about what Barney does, he is kind of a magician. It's a sleight of hand.
Uh-huh.
You're looking here, and something else is going on here.
Absolutely, man. That's a perfect analogy.
Barney is a magician.
Oh yeah, I think that's a perfect analogy for him.
He just happens to have this burning. Just I can't make shit fire from my hands, but I was gonna be like,
dude, really if you're sitting here and you had some fucking flash paper and you pulled that shit off, I'd be like, okay, we're done, guys. That's the episode. Catch you next time.
I'm gonna keep that in mind for one of the next episodes when like he does that. I'll have a little pizza. Either that, or I'll do my old school hand sanitizer and lighter trick.
And then all of a sudden you like set yourself on fire and you're running around. I'm like, so let's just keep talking about the episode, folks. Stop, drop, and roll, John.
When you get taught that as a kid, speaking of kindergartners, when you get taught that as a kid in kindergarten, you think that that's going to play a much bigger part in your adult life.
It's very true.
Quicksand.
I've never been set on fire, so I've never had to do that, but I guess it's good information to have.
I almost got set on fire once.
Fair enough. I'll say I'm not over there. Over there is a wall that has some movies and a picture, but definitely not me. All right. So we then flash over to Metro News 1. And I'll be honest, some of the cuts here are real abrupt during this like a day in the life of Robin sequence. Because she's, you're in the classroom, Barney does a magic trick, and then boom, cut, and she's somewhere else. It's boom, a different part of her day. And I get what they were doing. It's just, I don't know, it just felt real awkwardly abrupt.
Yeah.
And it happened a couple of times during this portion of it. Like I said, we're over in Metro News 1. She's getting ready for a broadcast. And this is the scene that we get in the other episode from the other side, where Ted calls Robin, freaking out because Victoria hasn't called him yet. But now we're just kind of seeing it from her side. And we get our first appearance of Sandy Rivers.
Sandy!
We heard his name before, but now we finally get to see him. We get to meet him. It's Alexis Denisof. For those of you who watched Angel, he played Wesley on that. He's also married to Allison Hannigan, which I thought was interesting. Oh, Wesley. I kind of love Sandy Rivers. He's a funny character. He
grows on me after a while. Yeah. But I don't like him as much as I like a future co-host of Robin's, one Don.
Don, yes. I like Don. I was wondering if you were going to say the other guy. Was it Clint or Cliff or Chet? Or I don't even fucking remember his name. The doofy guy. There's another guy. Not Don.
There is another guy.
Because Robin dates him, and I don't remember what his name is.
Well, Clint is the one who ends up with Ted's mom.
Oh, yeah. And the dragon.
And me.
But yes, there's another guy. But anyways, so and then
there's always another guy.
This is the other abrupt cut where it just cuts to the end of like after the broadcast.
Yeah.
But again, I understand what they're doing because they're not trying to do a whole episode about the day of Robin. They're just trying to catch us up of what happened so that they can move on.
You could transition it a little bit nicer than like snap cuts.
Yeah, you would think so. I don't know if there was other footage that got cut, and so like it just seems abrupt. I don't know, but it just, that's unfortunately the way it wound up being. And so, like I said, it's after the broadcast. We got Sandy Rivers, Robin there, and he asks her if she has a boyfriend because she had been on the phone with Ted, and so he was curious. And then after she kind of starts kind of rambling, explaining what's going on, he just asks her, "Hey, you want to have sex?" Just all nonchalant,
I mean, that's the going for the gold right there of asking people.
Yeah, he's like, I don't want to be involved. It's just sex. We could have some fun together. That's it.
Well, it makes me laugh because when he asked her if she has a boyfriend, she's like, "That's the second time I've been asked that question today." Like,
yeah, which I thought was hilarious. I mean, technically, the kid said fiance, Robin. Just saying.
Yeah, you're right.
Just saying. But he even gives her his phone number, which that comes up in the next episode. Because the next episode is Mary the Paralegal.
Yes.
And so her having his number comes back. Because I'm watching this and I'm like, they don't even do anything with that. It's so random because like they could have played with that if we didn't already know that she had called Ted at the end of the last episode. Because they could have played it like, oh, is she calling Sandy?
True.
Who knows? And then, oh shit, it's actually Ted. Okay. But so there's like, as far as just this episode goes, like in its own bubble, it doesn't seem to make any sense to include that little, here's my number, call me, you know what I mean? But it winds up coming back in the next episode, which hey, this show is full of stuff like that.
That's true. Well, I mean,
laying seeds of things all over.
They're very good at, like, sometimes they'll be like, here's where the current timeline is, but they're going to tell you this story that happened a year in advance to go back 6 days prior to the current timeline, but then somehow finish a day and a half ahead of where your current timeline is, and it's going to run into itself. It's like, oh, okay.
Yeah, I mean, I would not want to be the person who was trying to keep track of all that shit.
Like for instance, the story of the goat.
Oh, yeah.
Like, when he introduces the goat, he's like, wait a second, that wasn't that birthday. I'm on the wrong birthday.
Yeah.
And like, so we know about the goat, but that's technically a year in advance.
Yeah.
And I believe it comes up at one other point where he's like, but I'll get to that. And it's like, okay, well, fucking tell us about the goat then.
Yeah, they really kept us in suspense on that goat story. Like, really, for that whole year.
Goats.
So then Robin goes home, and at this point, the tone of this entire scene has completely changed from the beginning of this flashback, from the beginning of this whole day in the life of Robin thing. Whereas, like I said, at the beginning, it was real kind of bright and vibrant, and it had like this upbeat kind of fun music that was playing throughout it. And now we got this real kind of like sad and melancholy, real dark and moody lighting, this just like somber music going on. It was a great contrast for how her day started to how her day ended. And that's all the director right there. That's Pamela Fryman doing a fucking amazing job. Shout out to Pamela fucking Fryman over here, killing it on this fucking show. Not
give any throw out there to the cinematographer.
I mean, I don't know his name. So do you have a name? I don't have a name. So
I'm going to get it for the next episode.
Do it. It's not going to do you any good if it's a different cinematographer. It's probably not. It's probably the same guy all the way around. I have no idea. Or girl. Could be. I have no idea. I didn't look that far ahead. I only looked at the director and the writer. And that's what I will continue to do. So there. We then catch back up to the end, I should say to the beginning of this episode, to the end of last episode, where Robin is calling Ted to ask him to come over. She says, "What?"
Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
Oh, I was just gonna keep going. She says that she has a new juicer, and she wants to try that shit out, John.
And right there, this is where even without Ted's, he said grandma, mom, his mother told him never.
His mom, yeah.
Okay, that whole thing aside, you have a fucking girlfriend.
Yep.
Somebody calls you this early in the morning, and I'm saying early in the morning because I'm not saying late at night. You do not fucking go over there. Like, Robin is a horrible friend right now for even putting Ted in this situation, and Ted is a dumb motherfucker for allowing it to happen.
Dude, it's been leading this. You've been seeing these breadcrumbs from Robin throughout the last several episodes, you know,
I know.
You know, just like her poking at Victoria and being a bitch and all that towards her and all this stuff. And she finally just picks up the phone and calls Ted, but she doesn't have a plan in her head because he's like, "What's up?" And she looks around her apartment, spots the juicer, and that's instantly what her story becomes.
And I mean, and that's the thing. And like Ted's like, "Oh, juice. I like juice."
Yeah, and Ted, oh my god, throughout this whole fucking episode, Ted is just so fucking desperately trying to justify to himself what he's about to do.
Yeah.
And it's like, you shouldn't have to try that hard, dude.
Now, here's the thing, though. Okay, so hypothetically, because I know, like, we like to talk about what's happening in the show, but I'm gonna say what I got while it's here in my mind.
Yeah.
So, hypothetically speaking, Ted's already went over the email. He knows that the phone call is coming. He thinks she's gonna break up with him, but they're still together.
Yeah.
Therefore, this is where this makes Ted trash. Now, if you think that is what's going to happen, I don't care if it's over a voicemail. I don't care if it's you get her live. You call her right in front of Robin and you go, "We're done." Then you've got the clarity to be like, "Okay, I just broke up with her. Let's do whatever."
Yeah. It's like, are you telling me she doesn't have like voicemail on her phone?
Right?
Like, you could have emailed her if this was really the thing. You know, like, he could have done it any number of ways.
There's a bunch of different ways it could have been done.
Dude, motherfucker broke up with a girl twice on her fucking birthday. He could have sent an email. I'm just saying.
She learned Krav Maga.
He did. She fucking did learn Krav Maga and whooped his ass.
Whooped his ass.
But yeah, it's like, just...
If you don't know what we're talking about, you go back and watch that episode again.
Hells yeah, go watch that episode. But yeah, Ted, like I said, just so desperately trying to justify everything that he's about to do. He takes a cab ride over to Robin's house, and this is what he's doing the whole time. And he even starts seeing like a subconscious manifestation of Victoria.
Yeah,
I kind of likened it to, I call it in my head as I was watching it, I was like, it's like How I Met Your Fight Club. Yeah, I don't know, it made me chuckle when I said it. So he keeps seeing Victoria in this point as the cab driver, and it's obvious he's just talking in his head to her, because the cab driver is not reacting at all to what, you know. It's not like he's talking out loud.
Sometimes I wish they would say something out loud because it would make it better.
The cab driver's like, "What the fuck are you talking about, weirdo?"
Yeah, like, what are you saying?
Like, that would be pretty funny. But as he's going, Ted decides he needs a second opinion, and he calls Marshall. And this is
smart person to call.
Very, very true. And this is something I love, because Marshall, Lily, and Barney are still at the karaoke club from the previous episode.
Yes,
because it's that same night.
You notice though that at this point, Bilson and
Blobin
have left.
Yeah, because they're nowhere around. I mean, I feel like it makes sense. You know, Marshall, he's off, you know, singing with Lily,
True.
And you know, instead of broing out with them, they're probably like, okay, we're gonna head out. I wouldn't be shocked if that was the case. But yeah, they're gone, but Lily and them. It was just weird because we talked about how weird it was seeing them in a different bar. And like coming into this episode, a second episode, seeing them still at this bar, it was still weird.
At that bar,
yeah, it was still really, really freaking weird. And Ted explains to Marshall what he's, you know, about to do. Marshall said he needs to call him back because he needs to confer with Lily about this. And he kind of coyly starts trying to explain to Lily, kind of like there's a situation. And then Barney just blurts out, oh, the thing about Robin being in love with Ted. And Marshall apparently had no idea that he knew, and he was the only one that Robin didn't tell. And this, according to Barney, is because he and Robin are better friends than she and Marshall.
I will say this. I don't think that that's not true.
Yeah, I do think, especially after what happened with the Battleship episode.
Yeah.
I think they got a lot closer. So, and obviously she and Lily are really close.
Well, and that's the thing, though. Her and Marshall are only close because of Lily.
Yeah.
Like, don't get me wrong. The best friends in this entire show can arguably be said to be Lily and Robin, or Ted and Marshall.
Yeah.
Because, don't get me wrong. Barney fits in really well with the group.
Ted is Barney's best friend.
Yes.
But Marshall is Ted's best friend.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that's what I think is funny. Because Marshall will be like, I'm Ted's best friend. And Barney's like, I'm Ted's best friend.
Yeah. Yeah, and,
like, no.
and that kind of comes up, that kind of thing, because Marshall says, he's like, oh yeah, well, I'm better friends with Ted. Yeah. And he's like, no, you're not. And they just start having this fucking screaming fight, knocking chairs over and shit, getting in each other's face. And what I found hilarious, did you catch any of the stuff that was said in that screaming match?
No.
Okay, so there's one line that Marshall says specifically that they brought up in the DVD commentary. Marshall, it's like one of the last lines that he says. He says, "I used to box in the army," and apparently Jason Segel ad-libbed that line. And so Carter Bays and Craig Thomas, they were the ones doing the commentary on the episode. They're like, thanks, Jason. Now we have to put that in the episode. Now Marshall's been boxed in the army.
But
and honestly, the way I look at it, I'm just like, it's just Marshall kind of trying to pump himself up in that. You know what I mean? He's not.
I was going to say, he says shit all the time that isn't true, though. So it could just be one of those Marshall moments.
It's just him trying to almost intimidate Barney. Yeah. I boxed in the army. Boxed in the army. I'm like, okay.
Next time I get into a screaming match with you, I'm putting that in there somewhere.
Dude, that would be.
Yeah, what boxed in the army?
That would be hilarious, man. I that would probably end the fight because I would probably start laughing too. I'll be totally honest. I would probably start laughing too hard. I don't think I could keep going. So then we're back in the cab. Ted tries calling Victoria again. Now it is 2:30, and I'm pretty sure Germany is I want to say 7 or 8 hours.
I think the last
ahead.
7.
Yeah, and so that would be 9:30 in the morning, and she was supposed to call. She says she's gonna call at 11.
Yeah,
that's what she tells Ted. So either it's 2 hour, almost 2 hours before she's supposed to call because she's calling it her time, which it's very possible because let's say it's 8 hours. I don't know. I'd have to check, but let's say it was 8 hours. That would mean it's 10:30 at her time, and it takes about a half hour in within the episode, time frame wise, before she actually calls.
Yeah.
So maybe she was saying 11 o'clock her time.
Maybe.
And so Ted's over here freaking out because she's not calling when she says she's supposed to call and all this other shit. And maybe she was asleep because 11 o'clock, it would have been 7 o'clock in the morning. So maybe she was still asleep.
Maybe.
She was going to call, so he was just going to have to stay up. Because, she knows that they like to just hang out at the bar.
Which is true.
Because we see later on, they go to fucking McLaren's after the karaoke bar. And it's 3 in the morning.
Yeah.
And so, they would have obviously still been awake when she called. And I think she would have known that.
Probably. So
I'm thinking that she meant she was going to call Germany time, 11 o'clock. 11 a.m. That's I don't know if that's true. That's just what I think because it kind of lines up. You know what I mean?
Fair.
Yeah.
That's a good play-by-play right there.
Yeah, that's just a thought here. And then Ted, obviously Ted being Ted, not verifying, he could have sent an email like, okay, do you mean New York time or Germany time?
Well, and that's the thing. Without verification of what time it is, Ted became a real anal asshole about she hadn't called.
Yes, he did.
It's partially your responsibility when you're on the phone with somebody. If I say, now, and I mean, mind you, me and you are in the same time zone, but I work a different working shift than most people.
Yeah.
So if I say, yo, Josh, I'm going to call you at 7. Now, you know me. I got out of work at 7, and usually I'm waking up around 7. So you're probably going to ask me which 7 I'm calling you at.
Yeah, exactly. Because, it could be either. It could be either. But, yeah, that's just, I feel like it's just Ted looking for any excuse,
Oh, it's absolutely an excuse. And that goes back into this whole, I don't want to get too much into it because I'm going to heat myself up about it. But in this episode, Ted is a real fucking piece of shit.
No, yeah, absolutely. 100%. This is one of the worst moments for Ted.
Oh yeah. This is series debatable. Might be his worst moment.
It might be. We'll see as we go through this show. We might find something else. We'll have to keep track of that. You know what I mean? Because this is pretty bad. This is pretty fucked up. It's pretty bad on Robin's part too. You know what I mean?
No, it's worse on Robin.
They're both real shitty people in this episode.
Oh yeah,
real shitty people.
That's undebatable.
To the level that's they almost just do deserve each other. You know what I mean? Because how shitty of people they are. It's other people really don't Tracy doesn't deserve Ted. Or I should say it the other way around. Ted didn't deserve Tracy.
No.
You know what I mean? No offense to Ted. I know he grows throughout the series, but still.
Well, and the thing that's really shitty is, I mean, it's shitty because we're shitting on Ted at this point. But in all fairness, there is other shit going on in Germany at this point that we are unaware of.
That is true. Victoria is not innocent in this situation.
So I mean, it's sucks.
I do believe that she was planning to break up.
I wouldn't doubt it. Not even a bit.
After we learned the stuff that was kind of brewing in the background for her. Yeah, bubbling, which we find out way later on. But I think it was gonna. I think that's what I do believe that Ted was right in what he thought was gonna happen, but what he did after that was not. So, after he fails to get a hold of Victoria, Marshall calls back, and Marshall comes up with this excuse about an acid truck spilling over near Robin's place to try to get him to just go home. And he quotes Ted's mom, the whole, nothing, like your mom always said, man, nothing good happens after 2 a.m. I they keep bringing it up, they're trying to really nail that home because of what is happening throughout this episode. And
it's a good point by Marshall at this point to be like, this is what your mother said. Listen to your mother.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And to me, it seems like it's getting drove home real hard because future Ted is telling his kids this story.
Yeah.
And he's trying to drive that home for his kids.
Oh yeah.
So I feel like that could be part of it too.
But I mean, it's one of those things the moms are intuitive like that. If your mom tells you something, I don't give a shit if it's the most childish thing you think you've ever heard. You fucking listen to your mom.
Yeah, I know, right? Seriously, Ted.
Unless she tells you the earth is flat, and then ignore your mom. But
that's true. But that's a whole different podcast. That will also be explained in the Barney the Dinosaur podcast. It ain't easy being purple. Little did you know, folks, Barney the Dinosaur, flat earther. Who knew? Oh, shit. Anyways, so Ted, again, desperately trying to convince Marshall and himself that what he's doing is real innocent. It's just about juice with friends, man. It's just juice. We're friends. But deep down, we all know it's not.
Dude.
It ain't fucking stupid. Juice. The juicer is Robin's vagina, and the fruit and vegetables is Ted's penis, and it's just they're gonna make some juice together.
My hammer is the penis.
It's true. It is. It is the penis. And it is the hammer. And then Ted says that Robin doesn't even like him like that, So it's like, it's never going to happen anyways. And then fucking Lily.
Oh, I know.
I'm just like, why don't you just stay the fuck out of it, Lily? She grabs the fucking phone. It's like, she does. She likes you, man. It's like, what are you fucking, what did you think? What did she think was going to happen with that fucking information? I don't understand.
And that's like in reference to a side version of that. That's like having a suicidal man on the edge of a fucking ledge. And he's like, you got someone on the ground. They're like, I really love you, man. Get off the edge of the building. And somebody busts through the door and they're like, I fucking hate you, you scum. Do it. And the guy's like, okay.
No, like legit. Like, I think that's actually a legit analogy for it because she did. She drove him off the edge.
So fucking bad.
Because there was no way with that knowledge he was teetering.
Oh,
and he was starting to lean toward, maybe I shouldn't. She doesn't even like me like that. Maybe I shouldn't. But then as soon as she says that, he's like, wait, she does? What? Okay, we're going to fuck. That's exactly what should happen.
That's it. Like, essentially, in Ted's mind, you can take any of the fucking sex scenes from Zack and Miri Mega Porno and interject it here.
Yeah.
It's like, I have a delivery of cream for you.
It's true, man.
Let us fuck.
Yes. Roethlisberger. Yeah.
Nice kitty.
And I wrote in my notes here after the whole, Lily tells him this, I wrote, she chose poorly. I was like, yeah, man, perfect future reference to the show. For those of you who have seen it, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. So both Barney and Marshall just are like, what the fuck are you doing, Lily? Like, this is a terrible idea. Why did you do that?
And for Barney to think it's a bad idea.
Yeah.
That's saying. Barney would typically be like, Ted's going to go fuck somebody? High five.
Yeah, but like, oh yeah, you just did it. Yeah. Bam. Nah. Terrible idea.
The fact of the matter being that Ted went through all this shit for Robin at the beginning of the show. It didn't happen. He tried moving on a couple times by this point, and it's pedaling back to Robin, and I'm like,
yeah. And I mean, Ted, he comes up with all these excuses. He's like, oh, Victoria's, she's great and all, but it's Robin. It's like, wow, dude.
Yeah.
Like, that's fucked up.
Yeah. Some of the excuses that he comes up with, oh, but she's all the way over the sea. Fuck you, dude.
Yeah.
First off,
yeah.
If you were to do the tail of the tape, Victoria's hotter.
Yeah.
No fucking doubt. Victoria's hotter. Victoria wants kids. Victoria can bake. She has her own business.
Yeah, she's self-sufficient. Yeah.
She's not a gun nut. Which, I mean, that is what it is, okay? In the time,
I don't think at this stage that we don't know that Robin's a gun nut yet.
True, we don't.
Yeah.
He's not a reporter who falls in horse shit. It's too early to make this joke as well, but she's not a Canadian pop star.
That's true. But hey, maybe that's a plus. I don't know, man.
I mean,
Alanis Morissette was a Canadian pop star before becoming the Alanis Morissette we all know and love.
Well, she was also on You Can't Say That on Television, but
that's true. That's true. And I love that show. And I didn't even live in Canada. I'm just saying. It was good stuff.
You guys have much music?
Yeah, you guys have much music down here? So Ted finally gets to Robin's. He gets out of the cab, starts to head up the stairs. Then Victoria pops up again, from inside his head. That doesn't last very long. He gives some shitty excuse, like always. heads on up to Robin's there, and he has a whole fucking bag full of, I'm assuming, both fruits and vegetables, because I feel like it would be dumb, even though I think he only like mentions vegetables. I think he says like carrots and beets when he's up there, but like that'd be stupid if he
I'm pretty
only
sure
had those.
You can also see celery sticking up out of the bag.
Maybe, but I'm just like, I understand it's New York City, but can you really get a whole bag of fucking produce at 3 a.m.? Like, that's wild to me.
The way I was thinking of it was they probably got like a Tops or a Wegmans, possibly a Walmart or something. And most of those are 24 hours establishments.
Remember, this was 2006. They weren't.
True, but our Walmart was.
I don't think it was. Because, I mean, I worked there in like 2003, and they definitely weren't. And I don't think it was that soon after. I mean, it might have happened that soon after. But I don't know. It seemed, I don't think that there's any big box stores within the city limits.
I don't know. Maybe it was one of those like side of the road selling. Why are you pulling like?
Because it's 3 a.m., man. Well, 2:30. I think it's like 2:30.
It's Ted trying to fuck Robin.
It would be more believable to me if he packed up some. If they showed him like pull out a paper bag from their apartment. And like open his fridge, and then they kind of cut to something else. And then I'd be like, "Oh, he must have been putting shit in the bag." Okay, then I would have believed it. They could have gave me that 5 seconds, and I would have not been having this conversation right now with you.
It would have been funnier later on though if like Mars was in the fridge. He's like, "Where are my beets, Lily?"
Dude, that would have been perfect. I would have fucking loved that. So he gets up to Robin's apartment. They start talking. You know, Robin had a rough day. And she just wanted to see him. He was the guy that she wanted to see. And she asks, how the call with Victoria went, because as far as she knew, Victoria was supposed to call Ted and all that stuff. And Ted flat out fucking lies to her, says that they talked and Victoria broke up with him. And this is the biggest fucking dick move from Ted, I think, in this whole fucking episode, because not only did he lie to her, he played himself as the fucking victim.
Oh, yeah.
Saying that Victoria broke up with him. He didn't say we broke up, which makes it sound kind of mutual. No. He plays the victim to get her to kind of feel for him. And I'm like, that's fuck you, Ted. That's Dude,
it's the lowest of low that you could go on that one.
Yeah, like this is that point where I'm like, I kind of hate Ted right this second, you know?
Oh, dude.
Yeah, and it really bugs me that he did that. But Robin is visibly happy. You know,
visibly.
You know, Ted comments on it that she's smiling, and Ted is smiling. They're both a couple of fuckers. You know what I mean? like
a couple of fuckles.
It's legit, dude. Like, I'm like, oh my goodness. I just can't with these two sometimes. But then we go back to the karaoke bar, and the rest of the gang is there, and they're watching Korean Elvis do some karaoke. And Barney says, after 2 a.m., that's when things get legendary. And he invites Korean Elvis to have a drink with them. Because, yeah, man, he's going to make a legendary night, you know. He mentions some stuff later on, you know, like the licking the Liberty Bell, something about like the Russian consulate or some shit.
Something like that, yeah.
And I'm like, yeah, you're right. The Liberty Bell thing was after 2 a.m. and that was pretty legendary. So in Barney's world, after 2 a.m. is legendary, you know?
I mean,
but Barney's not a normal person.
But in all fairness, though, I mean, you could argue against that, though, at the same time.
Oh, I'm sure you could, yeah.
They had a shitty night building up to that.
Yeah.
They almost got arrested for being international terrorists.
Yeah.
Even though Barney kept doing the whole, we are international businessmen. They didn't get laid that night like they were planning on it.
That's true.
They ended up in a totally different city than they were supposed to be.
Yeah.
And the only good thing that came out of it was Barney got to lick the Liberty Bell.
Yeah. So, like, for Ted, the after 2 a.m., bad idea. But for Barney, it turned out legendary, which I find interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess it's all on like what's the word I'm looking for? How you view it?
Yeah, on perspective.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the perspective. Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely, man. Barney always he never really sees the bad. He's always looking for the good.
I'll tell a fun story when we get to the end of this episode about. Just remind me, and you'll know the story I'm talking about. The calling at the Clarion.
Okay. Will do. Okay, so then we head back to Robin's. Ted shows off his new phone, which is the same as Robin's, apparently.
Same exact phone.
Yeah,
and
man.
I had issues with this one as well.
Okay.
So they have the exact same phone, and without going too far ahead of the episode, they set them down side by side.
Yeah.
Now, one, if you go to pick your phone up off the table and you've got the same phone as somebody else, are you just going to pick it up and walk away, or are you going to check that phone before you walk away?
I mean, I personally think I would check it.
I would check it. I know I would. I have.
Ted being like so distracted in everything that was going on in that moment, which we'll get to. I just don't think he was thinking.
True.
You know,
True.
He was rushing to get into the bathroom, but like I said, we'll get to all that here soon.
I was gonna say in a minute.
Yeah, literally soon. So like I said, same phones, and then his phone rings, and it's Korean Elvis on the other line.
Korean Elvis,
love that shit. Then he hands it off to Marshall, and Marshall tells him that they need to meet up at McLaren's. Because the night's coming to a close. Let's meet up. And Ted tells him that he's at Robin's, and they are not. None of them are pleased.
Marshall's visibly pissed.
Yeah, and Lily's pissed too because she gets on the fucking phone, and she's telling him off, and she's like, do you want your entire future to be built on a crime? Like, it's like she's really kind of laying into him about this.
Too bad it's her fucking fault.
That's what I'm saying, man. He wouldn't be there if she hadn't opened her mouth about Robin and blabbed the secret about Robin,
Fucking blabbermouth.
Yeah, she could have corroborated the acid truck story, but no, she didn't. So he decides in this moment that he needs to leave. He's like, okay, you know what? They're right. I gotta go. He tells Robin that he should head home. He heads to the door, they open up the door. They, give one last hug, but that hug lingers.
Oh,
and it turns into so much fucking more. They start kissing. Then they wind up on the couch fucking making out. And it's getting real hot, real heavy. Robin wants to take this to the bedroom. And Ted, he kind of freaks out a little bit. You can tell. And he's like, I need to go to the bathroom first. And this is where he gets up, grabs the phone, and goes into the bathroom. And as we already discussed, he grabs the wrong phone.
Oh, yeah.
And you can see that.
Grabs the wrong
if
phone.
You're paying attention, you can see he grabs the one on the left, which is not his. And then as he's in the bathroom kind of having his little breakdown a little bit, he sees what I dubbed Head Victoria, because it's all in his head, and says that he's gonna call her right now. And he's gonna end this.
Yep.
But Head Victoria tells him that's gonna take at least 20 minutes. And if you're in here that long, that's way longer than a pee. Robin's gonna think you're taking a big old shit.
Yep.
Which I think was hilarious. And it kind of it cuts there and we head over to McLaren's because I get why they would do that. You want to kind of leave it almost like a cliffhanger, but it almost felt abrupt to me. It's like because it cuts off the word. It's like you're taking a massive cut and we go straight over to McLaren's. But I get why they would do that. And the editing just felt abrupt to me. So like I said, we're at McLaren's. We got Korean Elvis there. He's serenading Lily to Barney's amusement. And Barney wants this night to be legendary. Like I said, they get up, because Marshall and Lily, they want to go home. They don't want to be out anymore. It's like fucking 3 a.m. They want to be done. And Korean Elvis gets up and he tries to dance with Lily a bit. And then he whispers something in her ear. And it must be fucking pretty bad because she flat out just kicks him in the balls.
I mean,
and then that's how this night just becomes legendary because, as Barney says, it is the night. Remember that night? Literally kicked Korean Elvis in the nards, which I thought was hilarious, and something I think you'll find entertaining. According to the DVD commentary, the use of the words nard of the word nards was specifically used as a direct reference to the Monster Squad.
Yes.
Yeah. That's the reason that they went with that word specifically.
Dude, it's one of my favorite fucking references ever then.
Yeah. It's good stuff, man.
Because that is one of my favorite scenes in the Monster Squad.
Yep.
Kick Wolfman in the nards. He doesn't have nards. Kick him. Boom. Wolfman's got nards.
Yep. And so does Korean Elvis.
And so
so then we head back to Robin's. Ted decides he's going to call Victoria in the morning, but he's still planning to sleep with Robin. He doesn't care. He finally, in this moment, admits to himself and to us, the audience, that he just wants to get laid.
Just wants to get laid.
Just wants to get laid. And he's like, is that so bad? It's like, yeah, it fucking kind of is, Ted. It fucking kind of is. Like,
it really is.
Like, you got a fucking girlfriend.
Look, I will say it like this. I have done some Barney-like shit to get laid.
Yeah.
Never to his level, but I have done some shit to get laid. But never have I done anything against one of my partners.
Yeah. Yeah. And fucking Ted over here, man. This guy. Anywho, he realizes that he realizes long after we do that he picked up the wrong phone. He's got Robin's phone.
Victoria tells him, like, the aspiration of Victoria.
Yeah, but it's in his head.
Well, yeah,
it's him realizing it.
Yeah,
through head Victoria that he has the wrong phone, and so he heads out of the bathroom, and we see Robin on the phone, just getting off of a call, and it was Victoria. And she called. Robin thought it was her phone because that was one there, so she answered, and she found out that Ted was lying.
Straight lying.
Yeah, straight up lying. And she tells Ted that he needs to leave and call his girlfriend. He leaves and calls Victoria from the cab, and they break up right there.
Oh, yeah.
In the cab. And I mean, I don't blame her, man. I would too. Even though, like I said, we find out there's some stuff brewing in the background with her, but I mean, she, as far as we know, she wasn't getting ready to plow Klaus. You know what I mean?
I mean, she admits that there was something going on there with him, but she doesn't ever actually go as far to say, like, what. That's true. But we know that had Victoria not called or had Ted grabbed his phone, he still would have fucked Robin. Oh, absolutely.
If he had grabbed his phone, she would have called. I don't know what he would have done. I don't know if he would have maybe just not answered. If he would have been like, you know what, we're done, click. I don't know, man. Turned his phone off. I don't know what he would have done, but
I have a family emergency. Call me back tomorrow.
Maybe, he's like, I wonder if because like it's like 3 a.m. I wonder if he just would have not answered. Maybe. And then been like, oh, I'm sorry, I fell asleep, and just kept piling the lies on. Because I feel like that's probably what he would have done. He would just kept on piling lies upon lies, and then he would have gotten away with it probably. And that's true. So I'm glad he didn't get away with it. That's the thing. I'm glad that he did not, because he needed consequences here. And we get to the end of the episode. Ted and Robin, obviously both upset, both sad. Robin's heart's broken. And they go to bed alone. They have it's a split screen of both of them, sad and in their beds alone, not having sex. And that's where the episode ends, John. Yep. Sadness takes over. And so that was episode 1, season 1, episode 18. Nothing good happens after 2 a.m. What did you think overall of this episode?
Like I said, you stated it right at the beginning. Like, you said this is a very, like, solemn episode. And it is, and its purpose getting of this has got to put that rift in there. You know, obviously there's the bad blood now between Robin and Ted.
Yeah.
It's a good episode. It's solid, and it really rips at your heart because at this point, Victoria is such a good fucking girl. Like, she definitely doesn't deserve what Ted's doing to her, and it obviously shows that Ted's not 100% over Robin because he's gonna do anything he can to fuck her.
That's true. Yeah, I totally agree. I think the episode itself is very well done.
I think so.
You know, a couple of weird edit points, but other than that, I think it's a great episode. I just think it really paints both Ted and Robin in some of the most negative light that we get throughout this whole series.
Oh, God, yeah.
You know?
Well, like I said, this might be the worst thing Ted does in this entire show.
Yeah.
Which is saying something because...
Yeah. Because, but what I find interesting, because when I was looking through the fandom wiki page for the episode, apparently, I didn't realize this, but apparently it only takes 2 episodes for them to reconcile.
Does it?
Yeah, because the next episode is Mary the Paralegal, and then the one after that is Best Prom Ever, and that's where they reconcile.
Shit, I don't think I realized that it was that soon.
Yeah, I'm like,
well, I mean, it makes
2
sense.
Episodes?
Though. It does make sense though, because they're dating at the end of season 1, and when he goes home to tell Marshall and Lily, Marshall's sitting on the steps in the fucking rain crying because Lily had just left.
Yeah.
So
I mean,
it does make sense.
It felt like they needed that they were kind of fast tracking things.
Yeah.
You know, and obviously as we get through these episodes, the last 4 episodes of the season, we'll talk about all that kind of stuff, but it feels like they were fast tracking all this stuff with Victoria, with Robin, everything. Cause like she's heartbroken, but then she's like, oh, it's okay. Cause you were still willing to dump her for me. You know what I mean? Like, cause I feel like that's really what it is. Is that
no? You're 100% correct, and like I said, I don't think I actually really ever thought about that.
Yeah, I hadn't either.
Episodes in there.
Yeah, I hadn't either until I saw it and the thing. I was like, oh shit.
Huh?
Yeah, because
that's really crazy.
Yeah. I felt it was longer, but it was not. So all right, so that's the episode. So now it is time for that part of this show that we like to call Barney's blog. That's right. Suit up, bitches. And just like last episode, there was not a blog entry for this one. So we're going to pull from the plethora of non-episode specific blog entries. Yeah. I have a whole list of them, and I pulled one out. And John, I asked you a question earlier before the show started.
You did, and I thought it was kind of weird.
And what was that question?
Have I ever seen Top Gun?
Yes. So you, this will be...
Which I feel like when you texted me that and then said it's for the episode tonight, that must mean you don't listen to me when I talk about other things, because we've talked about this on Last Call.
No, because I was pretty sure, I'm pretty sure he said that he's watched Top Gun.
Yeah.
But then I was like, well, maybe he only watched part. I wanted to verify.
It's
because
been a while.
Specifically,
I've seen the entire movie like once and a half. But
okay.
It has been a while.
So hopefully you'll get some of the stuff that we're about to talk about.
All right.
I have not seen that movie. I will say.
Really? You've never seen Top Gun?
I have never seen Top Gun. I did, however, recently purchase it on Blu-ray.
Well, let me tell you something, Josh.
I will watch that soon.
You're dangerous, Maverick. Your body's writing checks it can't cash.
I do know that's from Top Gun, so.
I mean, at least you get the reference, bro.
I know some stuff about it, but anyways, so this episode, or this blog entry, I should say, is titled "Getting Unpsyched Through Film," and it was dated Friday, January 6th of 2006 at 10:55 p.m. And so it kind of, what he does here, it says that he revisited one of his favorite movie drinking games for his post-New Year's movie marathon. And this whole movie marathon is all about what he calls psychage decompression before sleeping. So it's, you get all psyched up, you have your psych mix, but then you need to decompress. Okay. So he has a movie marathon that he apparently uses to do that. and it's full of some classic films. And he says that he has them in reverse adrenaline order. So like the most adrenaline one, and then down to the least.
Let's hear this list.
Yeah, so it's technically 7 movies because one of them is a trilogy that he says. So number 1 is Top Gun. So he starts off with Top Gun.
Okay.
Then he does the Die Hard trilogy. So at the time it was a trilogy. Now there's like 5 fucking movies. But you can stick with the trilogy. I do like the 4th one. It's got Justin Long in it. I do like that one. I have not seen the 4th one because it's like a PG-13, and apparently it was real bad. So I've just avoided it. But those first 3, that's choice. Number 3 is Braveheart, which that's a long fucking movie.
That is a long movie.
Number 4 is Tombstone, and number 5 is Days of Thunder. Yeah, I have not seen the first or the last of this list. I have not seen Top Gun.
Can you call yourself a Merc with a movie blog?
Fuck you, man.
I'm just saying.
Fuck you, man.
It's okay. There is a movie on that list, and I will not say which one I have not seen.
I'm wondering if I know. We'll talk later.
I don't want. I will say this. I will not confess what movie it is, but I will say that it hurts my Scottish heritage to have seen it.
Yup, I was right. Anyways, so after he gives the list, he says, adding a drinking game to these films is not only amusing, but also maintains your buzz as if in tribute to the previous night's revelry.
Oh,
and so he gives the rules for a game that he learned apparently in New Hampshire. And it's a tribute to the most heart-pounding, stroke-inducing, high-fiving classic film of all time, Top Gun. So then we go through Barney's Top Gun drinking game.
Okay, let's hear it.
This is why I asked you, because we'll see. So it's apparently meant, says, for 5 to 20 Top Gunners.
Oh, God.
Yeah. So number 1 says, choose your call sign. Each participant chooses a character before the opening credits. Each time that character's name is mentioned, the designated player must take a sip of their beverage. 5 sips equals a full beverage. So that's how much your sip has to be.
Damn.
Yeah. So it says, example, hearing the name Pete Mitchell, Maverick, or Mav all require beverage consumption for the player who selects the Maverick call sign.
Oh, fuck. That's twice.
The list at the bottom, there's a list at the bottom, includes the major available characters in decreasing difficulty of beverage consumption. And if you go down, Maverick is top of that list. Then it says Goose, Iceman, Cougar, Slider, Jester, and then there's a whole bunch more to go all the way down.
Anthony Green's in that movie?
Is he? Okay.
Or not Anthony.
You mean Green, Anthony Edwards?
Anthony Edwards.
Yeah, he plays Goose, doesn't he?
He does.
Yeah. See, I know some stuff. Fuck out of here. So number 2 is choose your call out. It says at least one time during the film, each player must yell pause in the direction of the chosen remote control operator and challenge another player to perform the subsequent lines, lyrics, background activity, and or movement in the scene.
Yes.
So you have to reenact the scene. The challengee must perform the next line or physical movement exactly as it appears in the film, followed by the challenger's own rendition. The movie is promptly resumed to reveal the correct answer, and the losing party must finish a full beverage. Should both challengee and challenger fail, they both drink. Every player is encouraged to issue at least one challenge during the game, but overuse of the call-out by any particular player may invoke the trigger rule, in which the offending player is asked to shut up to prevent senseless filibuster.
Fair enough.
Yeah. That would suck if it would suck if it's like someone's first time watching the movie. You know what I mean? Because they would have no idea what's about to happen.
I would only challenge you once, and it's not for the scene you would think it would be.
Okay.
I would not pause it and have you be like, I feel the need.
Oh.
The need for speed.
Yeah, no,
I will challenge you in the scene where Tom Cruise decides. I'll make the reference in a way you will understand this.
Okay.
I will challenge you to the scene that Mickey from Scream 2 or it wasn't Mickey, it was Sydney's boyfriend reenacts in Scream 2.
Okay.
Where he starts singing.
Yeah. They do something like that? Is that where it's from?
Yeah.
Okay.
They're in like a cafeteria at one point, and he's talking to this girl, and he's like, I woke up with this feeling, blah, blah, blah.
So they took it from Top Gun for Scream 2.
Yep.
Okay. See, I didn't know that. Good to know.
I think I love you, so what am I so
That would be a good one to do to somebody. That would be a good one. I have to admit. I can't deny that. All right, number 3 is the BS rule. Anytime an overly technical term is used, everyone yells BS or other appropriate exclamation and drinks a sip of their beverage. Yeah.
Fair enough.
4, afterburners. When jet afterburners flare up, players must shout afterburners and enjoy a sip of their beverage.
I think I would just take the S off and yell afterburn.
Okay, afterburn. I like that. The MiG rule. Each time a MiG, which is the Soviet fighter jet, appears on screen, everyone yells, "Screw the Russians!" and drinks a sip. Number 6 is bitchy. Every time Charlie, played by Kelly McGillis, does or says something bitchy, everyone drinks a shot of coconut-flavored beverage.
Oh, God.
So you have to have a specific coconut-flavored beverage for this one. Number 7 is hot. Whenever Charlie does or says something hot, everyone drinks a shot of distilled Tennessean beverage. So like Jack Daniels, something like that. So that's a Tennessee whiskey.
Look at you pulling out your knowledge over there.
Just saying. Number 8, you've lost that loving feeling. When Maverick serenades Charlie in the bar, male players must sing along to any female players in the game. Singers then may enjoy a sip of beverage upon completion. Number 9, missile lock. Anytime you see or hear a missile lock, one jet locks on to another. Everyone yells, "Oh crap, we're screwed!" or any other appropriate exclamation, and takes a drink from their beverage. Number 10 is tower buzz. When coffee spills either on account of Maverick buzzing the tower both times, or the tray of coffee overturns when the XO officer chews Viper out, each player must yell, "Screw you, you fat bastard!" Chug a donut, then do a shot of coffee-flavored alcohol.
Man, I still got some coffee-flavored alcohol.
Yeah, man. I love chug a donut. Like that's an interesting way to say that.
I mean, it's Barney's Canadian side right there, and he doesn't even realize it.
Right? He totally does not. Chug a donut.
You fucking hoser.
And then number 11, the last rule of the game is phallic references. Following overt phallic imagery or lines of dialogue, for example, "We're the tip of the spear." Players shout "penis reference" and take a drink.
Yeah.
And there it is, folks. That's your Top Gun drinking game. Barney's favorite movie. I mean, he even flight suits up at one point in this show. So, hey.
I mean, it's already happened.
I know. That's what I'm saying. He flight suits up.
It makes me laugh, though, because do you remember the night when you tried to play the drinking game on New Year's Eve?
Yeah.
So Josh and I had a great idea for 2 drinking games. 2.
Yep.
One was to Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back.
It's true.
And it was
it was not a
shot anytime the word fuck was said.
Yeah, and we did this one second. And we got fucked up real soon. I
mean, we didn't even make it through the opening sequence of the other one.
It was so bad. But the other one, which was the 1960s Batman the movie.
Yeah, it was the Batman movie starring Adam West and Burt Ward.
And it was anytime anyone says, or I think it was specifically Robin, I don't know.
Yeah,
says holy something,
said holy something.
And there really wasn't that much.
No.
I was like, that's why we did the other one. And bad idea. Don't do either of those.
Like, oh man, he doesn't say it as much as like it gets played out to be. We were like, well, we should put
I feel like a movie like Batman the movie, you need to go through it the way Barney did for this game, or whoever, because he said he learned this game.
Yeah.
And like come up with like 10 rules or something, you know, instead of just the one thing, because there wasn't that much of that one thing, but there might be other things we could find and do. So I think
2 shots every time Batman smashes his fist into his hand.
The shark repellents in the movie, right? That's the movie. I'd say chug a drink, like down a whole beverage for shark repellent scene. Boom. And that's how you go.
You know what a fun drinking game would be, but it would have to be well designed Rocky Horror Picture Show.
I'd be shocked if there's not one out there somewhere.
I mean, there's all the AP lines and everything.
Yeah.
And I feel like some of them would just be better as drinking games.
Oh, yeah. I mean, like I said, I wouldn't be shocked.
Janet Weiss has said, instead of yelling bitch or slut, fucking take a shot.
Or you could say that and then take a drink, too.
Oh,
you know what I mean?
Like, slut!
You could probably take a lot of the AP lines and just attach a drink to them.
One of my favorite AP lines.
Take a shot and throw some toast.
One of my favorite AP lines from Rocky is during the dinner scene. And it's when Rocky grabs the fucking meat. You yell, show us how to eat a pussy! And it cuts back to him and he's going.
That's good. That's good.
Oh, man.
But so before we end this episode, we did get a couple of 5-star reviews on Apple Podcasts that I would like to read. One of them's a little bit older. We didn't get a chance to read it the last time, so I want to do it now. And then we recently got a new one. So, yeah, here we go. The first one is from user YYG98. Okay. So the title is just a thumbs up. And then it says, discovered this searching for a pod for a recent rewatch. Love the show. Keep them coming. I'm catching up really quickly, though, and I'm going to be left binging alone. Sorry, guy. We're only doing once a week.
We are only doing once a week.
Yeah. But I'm glad that you're loving the show. I hope that you continue to love the show.
Yes, please keep listening.
And then the second one is from username Heatherkins. And the title is Must Listen to Rewatch Podcast. She says, you guys do an amazing job. So many interesting facts that I did not know about How I Met Your Mother. And reading Barney's blog is the cherry topper to this great podcast that any How I Met Your Mother fan will love. I will continue to suit up every Monday. Thank you guys for your hard work. Well, thank you for that awesome message. That was fantastic.
But I'm sending out a heart emoji.
Yes.
Much love.
So much love. And thank you to everybody out there who's been watching, commenting, and things like that. Just it really means the world to us that we've been kind of reaching people and making people's day. You know, we love this show and wanted to talk.
We can't touch people. Okay,
that's true.
There are rules.
That's true. You can look, you can't touch.
You can touch, but you can't taste.
You can taste, but you can't swallow.
Don't you dare swallow.
For those of you, if you know that reference, tweet at Last Call HIMYM. If you can tell me what that's from, I'll give you a shout out. Just saying. If you can,
your dick.
I won't do that, but I'll give you a shout out. That's the episode, guys. Be sure to follow us on Twitter, like it says right down there, at Last Call HIMYM. And John, where can everybody find you if they want to chat on the interwebs?
Usually, you can find me in an alleyway throwing dice with Officer Leroy.
That's true, man. Yeah,
but I mean, if you want to find me in a cooler place than that, find me down here. Oh, right there on Twitter. You can find me at Simply Sane J1 on Twitter. It corresponds with my personal podcast, The Simply Sane with Jay, where I talk about some deep dive personal issues in my life. And now I've started a blog to get even more personal and touchy-feely with myself.
Yeah, he loves to touch and feel himself. You know.
I mean, I was going to say, you know what they say? If you can't be an athlete, be an athletic supporter.
Fair enough. Fair enough. If you can't do, teach. That's what they say. That's what they say.
If you can't do, teach. And if you can't teach gym.
That's right. That's what they say. You can find me on Twitter at JP Raynor. That's JPRAYNOR, as well as right down there at Movie Blog Merc. That is a Twitter page for my site, Merc with a movie blog.
That is
true. We've actually just started a couple of new shows on the podcast and YouTube feed, so check those out. We have Beyond the Screen as well as Prime Picks, so check those out. We got some more stuff coming as well. And obviously follow us on Twitter at Last Call HIMYM. And if you're watching this on YouTube, on the Merc with the Movie Blog YouTube channel, be sure to hit that like button, smash that subscribe button, and ding that little bell so you get notified every time we drop a new episode. And if you are a podcast listener, particularly on Apple Podcasts, leave that 5-star review. We will read that on air like we just did. And if you are listening on Anchor, or if you just want to get a voice message out, we did that last episode where we played a voice message on air. Just head on over to anchor.fm/lastcallHIMYM and just leave us a voice message. You don't even have to listen to it on Anchor. You can listen to it anywhere, and then just go over there and leave that voice message for us. We will get that and put that on a future episode. So thank you again for listening and being here with us and fucking being with an awesome show like How I Met Your Mother. I love it. You love it. We love it. John, what do you got for them?
Well, listen here, mother lovers. You don't have to go home, but you can't listen here.
That's right. Peace out, Mother Fs.